May truth here, family. I got another video I wanted to share with you. Israel Redemption. She just posted this a day ago. I really appreciate this sister. She's very learned. She's very thorough, and she brings a lot of information that is beneficial to our understanding. She has written a book called The Israelite Native Heritage Anthology. It's available for purchase. I'm going to put the link in the comment section so that you can check that out if you choose to. I'm starting this video, my end of it, about 2 minutes into hers. She's responding to somebody's comments and questions, and she brings a lot of drop. So I hope you can appreciate this, learn from it, share it with others, and subscribe to this sister or check her out from time to time. Like I said, she brings a lot of pearls. So, and we ain't the swine, so grab them pearls. You know what I'm saying? Here we go.
Like I said, it's going to be very brief because there are more details coming that I'm going to release soon. Most of you have no idea what the Bible is. In the anthology that I wrote, there are chapters in there that cover information about the Bible. You know, what the word means, where the word comes from. So if you would like to read more about that, feel free to get the anthology because it's a very useful resource that I think you should have in your library. You know, you may not have access to the internet all the time, and you won't be able to log on all the time to the internet just to watch a video. But if you have your book, you can always grab your book and open it up and use it as a reference source. So when I said to them that the Bible that you have is meant for the condemnation of the nations, they did not understand what I meant. I'm going to show you what I meant. You've never seen this before, and that's because the Bible is written in such a way that the truth is hidden from you. In some of the videos that I've made where I talk about language, you know, in particular our language, and the fact that our writings that were written by our ancestors are translated, and that the English language is basically used to hide the truth from you, you're about to see a very good example of what I mean. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't use the Bible and read it in English and get some good stuff out of there, because you can. You don't have to throw your Bible away or burn it. But I want you to understand what you have, okay? You don't understand what you have. But I know exactly what you have. I know exactly what the Bible is. I did not cover this particular information you're about to see in the anthology, but I do talk about the word Bible, where it comes from, in the anthology. And, you know, there's a chapter in there on that. But you're going to learn something in this video in addition to that. Okay, so here's the main problem with the Bible. The Bible was never supposed to be written in a foreign tongue. So what you have is a compilation of my ancestors' writings that were written for our people and to our people and about our people. Because we're a very ancient people. But it was never to be translated. And in the book of Revelation, well, the book you know is Revelation, in chapter 22, verse 18 and 19, it tells you that. Okay? That was a warning that our writings were never to be translated to a foreign tongue, and it tells exactly what would happen to the people who used those translated writings. And you're about to find out. Now, more than likely, this is something they don't even know themselves. But I guarantee you, the one who gave you the Bible in the so-called English language, they knew exactly what they were doing, which is why they wrote it the way they did. Because they gave you a sacred text. And the word sacred means cursed. Now you can follow along with me and read from Revelation chapter 22, verse 18, because we're going to start there. I'm going to read from the English Standard Version, and I'll probably read from a few more. But if you have a King James, you can follow along in that one, or any one you have. I warn everyone who hears the words of the prophecy of this book. If anyone adds to them, the Most High will add to them the plagues or curses described in this book. Verse 19. I'm going to read that from a different translation. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book of the prophecy, the Most High will take away from their share in the tree of life and in the set-apart city, which are described in this book. In some of my other videos, I've had people ask me about different Bibles. And I remember I told someone once, I said, there's a Bible apparently that the Vatican has, and it's supposed to be worth millions of dollars. And supposedly is one of the oldest ones on record. Now, some of the ones that I use, some of those are almost 500 years old. But then there are also Bibles that were written by people or by scribes who were killed because they translated them. And that is what you're told in Revelation 22:18 and 19. Our ancestral writings were never to be translated into a foreign tongue. That's what it says. You don't see that, though. You don't see the word translate. You don't see that at all. You don't see the words write in a different language. But in my ancestors' writings, that's what it says in our language. The words that are used in our language literally mean in English translate, to not translate. Because to translate the document means to curse them. And that goes for any of our records. I want to show you something. When you hear the word spell, what do you think? You either think one of two things. You either think of writing words by spelling them, or you think of magic, right? Well, there's another meaning for the word spell. And we're going to read that right now. Let's go to the etymology dictionary. And we're going to look at the second meaning of the word spell from the 1620s. You're going to be surprised at what it means. Because when we write things down, we spell them, right? Exactly. A turn of work in place of another. Old English Gaspelia, a substitute, which is what your gospel is. Surprise. And what's very interesting about one of the explanations they provide here, it says interval of rest or relaxation, which took the word to a sense that was the opposite of what it had at the start. So originally it did not mean rest and relaxation. It meant something else, the opposite. Work without rest. In other words, violation of what? Shabuat, which they call the Sabbath. Now something else that's interesting, it says here, spell, right? A fable. So they already told you in the second definition, spell, a turn of work in place of another, a substitution, gaspelia. Yes, gaspelia and gospel, you can really dig deep and see that they are the same words. That's your gospel. A substitute. Remember I said that Christianity itself, that's what it is. It was supposed to replace us. And that the word anti in Greek means instead of and to replace. A substitution. I said that in my other videos. But here we learn something even more. Spelling. Casting of spells. And it says here a fable. You know what a fib is? It means to tell a lie. Do you know that the word fib and fable are from the same root? Okay, look at the second one. A fib, a lie, especially a little one, a white lie, perhaps from fibble and fable, nonsense, a reduplication of fable. Exactly. And that's what you have in the translated version of our writings. A fib, especially the New Testament. So what the evil, wicked scribes did was take our original writings, they translated them to their unclean tongue and gave you that version. Now let's go back to Revelation where we were just reading. Now, if you guys are really thinking, okay, if you're really putting that brain of yours through some workouts, you should be saying, well, okay, but I don't see anywhere in Revelation 22:18 or 19 where it literally says, you can't translate the writings. Oh, that's because you're looking at the wrong thing. Let's look in verse 19, and we're just going to read maybe like the first 6 or 7 words. And if anyone takes away from the words of this book, and those are your key terms right there, but there's more. I testify to everyone who hears the words of the prophecy in this book. If anyone adds to them, the Most High will add to them the plagues or curses described in this book. Those are the terms you should have been listening for, or looking for, I should say. Taking away and adding to. Do you know what it means? Before we look at it, I'm going to read from a verse you're very familiar with, I'm sure. Now keep in mind there was no one called Jesus. That's a fake phony name, which means pig and swine. These are our writings written by our people to us and about us. Okay, that warn us about what happened in the past and how not to repeat those mistakes so that we can lift ourselves up out of this mess our ancestors put us in, and a mess we've kept ourselves in. Matthew 23:15. Woe unto you, scribes and Pharisees, hypocrites! You encompass sea and land to make one convert, and when they are made, you make them twofold more the child of Gehenna than yourselves. So listen, the word that I want to focus on is scribes, because he said, woe to you, scribes. If you look up the meaning of the word scribe, you're going to see something benign. But that's who translated our writing. Add to, take away from. Now you're going to find out that translating our writings means to curse the writings themselves, as well as scribing them. The only ones who are supposed to deal with our writings are us, no one else. So in Revelation 22:18, any person who adds to our writings will have the curses that are written in our prophecies added to them. Now in some versions it says plagues, but yeah, curses. What does it mean to add to? It means to scribe. So we're going to go to our etymology dictionary, look up the word ascribe, ascriber or scribere, to write. To write in, to add to in a writing. Woe to you, scribes! Woe to you who add to in our writings. Now for those who take away. In our ancestral language dictionary, when you type in translate, it gives you one of the words, abar. And look at all the meanings. One of them is to take away. Translate means to take away. Translate means to take away. When they translated our writings, they took away from them. When they scribed our writings, they added to them. And so, as it was declared, all of the curses written in the scroll will be added to the nations who doeth this. So you, my friend, have a cursed book, a sacred book. And throughout this earth, every whither it has been taken, the nations have fought each other to the death. You put your filthy hands, you scribes, on the wrong thing. And now, you get to enjoy the curses. Why do you think it is that Ishmael was smart enough to not translate our writings? Instead, he wrote his own. Because he knew the writings were never to be translated to any other tongue.
And I'm going to stop it right there. I would highly encourage each and every one of you to check out this sister's YouTube channel. She's Yisrael's Redemption. She's been around a while. She's very learned. I consider her to be somewhat of a scholar personally. I appreciate her earnestness and her dedication to bringing truth to us. For those of you who watch my channel, you know that I have a thing about language and using the right words. When I find out something is not what it appears to be, I change it. There are many words that I used to use, I no longer use. And I think it's worth our while to invest our time in ourselves and learning so that we can help educate others. Those that have an ear to hear will hear. And if they don't hear you, that's all right. Drop that pearl, keep on going. Because there's somebody within that circle that you're dealing with that is to hear what it is that is being said, what the Spirit, what the Ruach is saying to you. So therefore, be encouraged, family. Drop nation. We got to drop. And it's time for us to rock and roll with it. This is M.A. Truth. I'm out. Encourage each other. Love each other. Stop this bullshit. Leave this garbage that we dealing with alone. And let the Spirit of the Most High just lead and guide you in all truth and in all wisdom. Out.